Hello and welcome to the Disabled People's channel. My name is Steve and I'm here with Jane. Hello, Jane.
Hello, everybody.
Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Jane and I am 30 years old. I have cerebral palsy and osteoporosis, but I'm also a wheelchair dance instructor and an author.
Okay, let's start off with hopefully the easy one. Osteoporosis, can you tell us what that is?
Osteoporosis is brittle bone disease. I wasn't actually diagnosed for a long time. It was about 9 years ago when I had hip surgery they discovered it.
Okay, and how does it come about?
So with osteoporosis, you don't actually know that you've got it until you're diagnosed. But I was only diagnosed with it when I had my hip surgery because my femur broke during the surgery, and it's because they found the weak bones.
Oh wow, the femur is apparently a really painful one to break.
Yeah, it took a long time to recover.
So is there any treatment for
So
osteoporosis?
now I'm on calcium tablets and I have to have a 6-month injection for it, and regular bone density scans just to check that it's not got any worse, because sometimes they might have to change your treatment. It doesn't usually affect people until they get older, but due to the cerebral palsy and my immobility, I've got it early.
Okay, so the cerebral palsy can affect all sorts of things. What is cerebral palsy?
So cerebral palsy is a condition that people are born with. It's when you don't get very much oxygen in the womb. I was born 10 weeks early, so that's how I was born with it, because I didn't have enough oxygen in the womb.
Okay, and what kind of symptoms does that give?
So I don't have any mobility. I can just about transfer to different chairs and things, and it's affected my right side more than my left. I can't use my right hand very well.
Okay, so is that fairly common that it's limbs either
Yeah,
one
I mean,
side
it
or
affects
one?
people differently. Some people it varies because some people can't communicate. Some people can't walk or stand at all. So it affects people in different ways.
Is that something to do with the nervous system then?
I think so. I mean, it's difficult to say. Because it's all to do with the brain. So I think it might depend on how premature you are as well.
Okay.
Because I'm very lucky that it didn't affect my speech, but a lot of people, they're unable to communicate.
So when did they diagnose it?
I think I was about 2, maybe 3.
And how did they discover that?
Well, it was actually the health visitor that went to visit my mum, and she just said, "How are you coping with Jane's cerebral palsy?" And of course, my mum didn't know nothing about it.
And is there much treatment that can be given?
When I was little, I used to have intensive physio, but as you get older, you sort of lose that.
Does that mean that the body just slowly gets worse?
If you don't carry on moving, your muscles will deteriorate and get worse. But I'm lucky that I can stand a little bit, so that all helps. And the dancing helps as well, keep my muscles strong.
Okay. Is there much support for you?
Well, as an adult or as a child?
Yeah, let's go with both of those.
As a child with cerebral palsy, there are lots of support out there, but then unfortunately, as soon as you hit 18, that support kind of goes away.
Yeah, I think that's something we hear fairly often, is that there's a good system for children for all sorts of things.
There is, definitely.
Do you get carers or anything like that?
Yeah, I get a thing called direct payment, and I'm able to pay for a personal assistant out of that, and my family help me with personal things, and then my carer's here during the day.
And was that easy to get?
No, that's very hard.
I think we find that with quite a lot of the the different benefits?
No, you have to qualify for that sort of thing, and unfortunately, not everybody qualifies.
No.
Obviously, I was diagnosed at 2, but when you're younger, there is obviously a lot more physio and that than when you get older. But I also went to a school for disabled children, but that was until I was about 6, I think. The disabled school was very difficult because I was the only child that could communicate. It was unfortunate that everyone else had communication problems, and so that made it hard to transition to mainstream school where everyone could communicate back with me.
I was just wondering if people would kind of look at you and think that you're in a wheelchair or something like that, and then automatically assume that you...
I did have a little bit more mobility because I was able to walk with sticks. But as I've got older and I've had all these surgeries, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. So are you in a lot of pain or anything like that?
Yeah, the osteoporosis and the cerebral palsy both cause pain sometimes, mostly muscle pain, but the osteoporosis can cause joint pain as well.
Yeah, that must be quite difficult.
Sometimes it is, especially in the winter when it's really cold. The muscles and the joints just stiffen up.
Yeah. And do you find it affects your sleep and concentration and things like that?
Sometimes it affects my sleep if I'm uncomfortable, but concentration wise, no, it hasn't affected that.
And have you found kind of the things like your mobility much affected over your life?
Every time I have a surgery, it sort of affects my mobility.
Okay. Have you had lots of surgery then?
Yeah, I've had, hang on a minute, I'll work this out now. I think I've had, was it 4 hip operations and spinal surgery as well?
Oh, wow. That's quite a lot. Is that mainly for the osteoporosis or?
No, that's all to do with the cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Because I had scoliosis when I was in my early teens, so.
That's a curved spine, isn't it?
Yeah, and I had to have 2 rods put in my spine.
Mm. And when you moved to the mainstream school, did you find that you were treated any differently by the kids and the adults there?
Well, I mean, I didn't have many friends. It was mostly the teachers and that would talk to me really, but I don't know if it's perhaps the children didn't understand about different disabilities.
Mm. Yeah, if you're out with family or anything like that, do you find that you get ignored and they get talked to instead of you?
Yeah, all the time.
And how does that make you feel?
I don't really know, to be honest. I just, it's annoying because they can see me there too.
Mm.
So on the rare occasion that people do speak to me rather than a family member or carer, it's quite nice.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've learned over the years is that just because somebody's in a wheelchair doesn't mean that they can't communicate. And I think that seems to be an assumption that a lot of people make. Do you find that people are scared of you in a wheelchair?
I don't think it's necessarily being scared of the person in the wheelchair. It's more being scared of how to approach them.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah. How would you like them to approach you?
Just as they would anybody else, really. I mean, I've had it before where I've had people in my face talking to me as if I'm really silly. But I mean, I think people just need to talk to disabled people as they would anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the big things that we're trying to work on here.
Yeah.
Share the differences just to show that we are just normal people. And I've had a lot of friends who've kind of been in wheelchairs and they've said that people just walk up and start pushing the chair or leaning around and things like that. Do you get that kind of approach?
I used to when I was at school, but not now. I'm an adult.
So, did you have a lot of people that kind of said, why don't you concentrate on a seated hobby or knitting or something like that?
I don't think I've had any like comments like that. I mean, to be honest with you, the able-bodied people, or I don't know what you call it, but they've been more sort of supportive with the dancing and everything. Some of the disabled community can be quite rude.
Okay, in what kind of way?
Like some of their comments that they'd say to me, not just about the dancing, but about the books and things like that, they can be quite rude.
How do you cope with that criticism?
It shocks me, to be honest, because I'm a fellow disabled person doing something positive for the disabled community. So I don't always know how to react to it.
And do you find that you get support from other people when those people do?
Yeah, I mean, I find I get a lot of support from the able-bodied community more than what I do the disabled community, which is it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit mind-blowing, really, because we all struggle in different ways, and so you'd hope that other people would recognise it and be there to support you as well.
Yeah.
So you've written a book. It's about a superhero who's got cerebral palsy. They black belt in karate. And you've mentioned that didn't go down with some people.
No. They all thought I was taking the piss out of them by writing a disabled superhero book, but I don't see why there shouldn't be a disabled superhero.
Absolutely, yeah. Is it because that they didn't realise that things like disabled karate was a possibility, or?
I'm not really sure, because I had a few comments online telling me that the book, for whatever reason, was a government conspiracy, and I don't know what that's got to do with anything, but
there's conspiracies about just about everything. Yeah,
there is.
Yeah. Do you think there's some jealousy in those ideas?
Yeah, I mean, my family and my friends think that it could be some jealousy, but it shouldn't be about jealousy. We should be helping each other.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, I know that from what we've said today, that you're far more active in some ways than I am, and able to do more of some things. But that doesn't mean that we can't support each other. You said right at the beginning that you're a dance teacher. Was that something you developed right through from when you were young?
No, it's only something I got into about 7 years ago. I was looking for a new hobby to take up. So me and my mum were Googling things, and wheelchair dance came up, and I went along. It was ballroom and Latin. I've entered some competitions and got gold medals and things. And last year I decided to do the instructor's course.
Okay. And did you find that difficult?
Some of it was, like the written part of it, because I'm not really very academic, so that was hard. But the practical was okay.
Okay. What kind of practical do you have to do for that?
So you have to go to the Paradance head office, and they have a dance studio that everyone can use for the course, and they set you tasks, and then on the last day they video you doing your own dance choreography, and you have to teach everyone on the room this choreography that you've done, and then they send it to their independent assessors.
Okay, so it sounds like quite a challenging course to do.
It was, but that's where I wanted to just add something, because even though the organisation that teaches everyone to be a wheelchair instructor, actually there's not many wheelchair users that do their courses. It's all people like occupational therapists, physios and nurses, and very limited wheelchair users actually do these courses.
So it's more from a exercise perspective that people are doing it.
Yeah. I mean, they might have a lot more wheelchair users doing the courses than I've seen, but obviously the course I did, I was the only wheelchair user.
Okay. And I'm guessing that there's not that many of the kind of the electric wheelchairs either.
At the competitions, no, it is mainly sports wheelchairs, but there are the occasional few that use the powered wheelchairs as well, because I actually use both.
Okay. How do you find the kind of the dancing with those?
So the manual sports chair I use for combi, which is a standing partner with a wheelchair partner, because it's easier for us to do it in manual because the standing partner leads the wheelchair user around. I also do care homes as well. So that's a thing called seated dance, because they're in like their care home chairs. And people with frames as well can be taught. And I've also taught able-bodied people to dance with someone in a wheelchair as well.
Dance obviously it involves a lot of confidence. How did you find that? Where did it come from?
I keep practicing and not giving up, especially with the competition. The first one was really nerve-wracking, but then once I'd done it once and knew what to expect, I knew how to improve it as well. It can be extremely overwhelming for people that are competing, because I've got people that want to learn to dance but they don't feel confident in competing. I've got other people that want to compete but they don't want to do the solos, they just want to dance with somebody else, and it can be all things like that.
Especially if you've grown up with a disability, is that that confidence can disappear if
but I mean, I was used to doing things like that anyway, because where I'd learnt the keyboard, I'd played in a couple of open mic nights with a few other people. So I was sort of used to being not the front person of the stage, but on the stage doing things anyway. So I was used to that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
And as well, I've been on the radio with my book and things, so I'd gotten used to speaking out and stuff like that. It's just practice and perseverance.
Yeah, I think that's even what I found coming on here is that there was no way that I'd go in front of a camera not that long ago, and just coming here and hearing stories like yours is brilliant. Very encouraging.
Before I started teaching, like once I'd got my qualification, before I'd started teaching, I actually started the YouTube channel to try and get more confident in speaking, because I knew I had to speak to people and explain things to them as well, which is something I struggled with. So I started the YouTube channel to help that.
And I suppose YouTube is or Facebook or any of those kind of things, it's fairly accessible for anybody just to start off small, and if it grows, it grows. And well, it's been really exciting to hear from you. Thank you so much for spending time to come and chat to us.
You're welcome.
It's been very useful, hopefully for a lot of our viewers. So thank you very much.
I hope I can help, even if I just help one person.
Yeah. And do you just want to give us the name of your dance class, your YouTube channel?
Yep, so my dance school is called Cha Cha Chairs, and the YouTube channel is called Cha Cha Chairs Dance.
Okay, so that obviously a big dance reference in that, so very easy for people to find. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.